Welcome to the Squared Circle Jerks podcast. I am Byron, and inhabiting the grumpy form of Jim Cornette today we have Byron.
So we're both Byron?
Yeah, I know. I'm just confusing at this point.
Well, I'm totally with it.
You are on board with me being a clone of you.
Well, you're just another voice in my head, right?
I suppose that is the case. We definitely both have that problem. I am Mike. He is Byron. Byron is a little bit under the weather today, and he might be a little testy, a little grumpy, and we'll see what happens.
Blah, give me another steak. That one was bad.
And I suppose I should warn you, Vanessa Bourne is in today's podcast, so regular Byron spares her feelings in no way, shape, or form. Forget grumpy Byron.
Actually, it's more apathetic than super grumpy. I'm just kind of not energetic at all, which may change depending on what we're talking about, I guess.
All right, well, let's talk about NXT, shall we? NXT this week from February 27th opened up with Johnny Gargano cutting a promo with the crowd. We got some Johnny Failure, Johnny Champion, and all that coming into play. Mm-hmm. It was a good promo. It set a good tone. Tommaso Ciampa comes out to say that he is here to say, basically, we win together and you lose on your own. Now, there's this little thing called the Dusty Rhodes Classic. If you recall, that is where the DIY magic began.
Correct.
I would like to see that begin once again. And Johnny, he looks uncertain. The crowd is telling him partially to do it, partially not to do it. And he shakes the hand of the man who stabbed him in the back and ended DIY. So evil DIY is now a thing. Your thoughts?
I am so happy. Let's shorten both of their names to a single syllable.
Bring me
another steak. That one was bad.
I fully expect Vince McMahon to redub them just Tom and John at some point. But no, it wouldn't be John because you get John Cena. Can't have too many Johns.
Yep.
We're
gonna take Johnny Gargano and just shorten it to just John.
I'm gonna say they're gonna shorten it to Chomp and Garg. This could be
yes, and we'll give him a caveman type gimmick. It'll be great.
I mean, not to cast any dispersions because the same could be said of me, but Johnny Gargano does have the pronounced brow for it.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah. So the handshake agreement later on. Candice sees them backstage. She is not happy. Johnny's like, you just gotta trust me. I'm like, dude, you're married to her. She doesn't have to trust you for shit. That's not how this works.
I thought that's exactly how marriage was supposed to work.
No, it does not work that way.
Well, then I'm good with being single then.
Yeah, not complaining in that regard. Ricochet gave a pretty good promo, which is good because his weak point of his game has always been the promo. And he announces basically that him and Aleister Black are entering the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic. Is this the deepest tag team classic we've ever had? I'm kind of thinking it is.
Yeah, probably.
It's pretty damn deep. Which is surprising because this is actually kind of the weakest point of the actual tag team division. So, there is that. Speaking of tag team action, and speaking of it not being tremendously good, Vanessa Bourne and Aaliyah took on Tainara Conti and Xia Li. So my first problem here was purely commentary based. They buried their own titles in this match.
Oh yeah, they did.
They're like, either of these two teams with a win here puts themselves in contention for the women's tag team championship. You mean two teams that have never teamed together before this moment are going to be in contention, beating another team that has never teamed together? What is wrong with you fuckers?
Yeah. Also, why do we not have Natalya in a team with somebody? You have an opportunity here to have the new generation of the Hart Foundation. So do that.
I feel like they're giving Natty a lot of very easy work right now in the wake of her family tragedy.
Yeah.
which I can respect. So I don't have a problem with that. So basic summary of the match. I liked Xia Li when she was on offense. Her selling needs work, which is fair. She's very green and from a country in the world that isn't exactly famous for producing female wrestlers. She is the first one. So she's definitely a project and it shows, but there's a lot of upside there. Tainara Conti, really just kind of ditto all around. Her offense looks pretty good. She works her judo and her Brazilian jiu-jitsu in pretty well.
This was the first match I can remember her being allowed to actually do that, which is kind of problematic. But what are you gonna do?
She had a really good match in the first match of her I ever saw. Actually, Mae Young Classic with Lacey Evans of all people. And they let her do a lot of that, and it was actually quite good.
That's good.
And we saw something here. Same thing though on the negative side. She's not very good at selling. That needs work, and I'm assuming that will come with time.
Yeah.
Aaliyah is a serviceable wrestler, which is not high praise considering how long she's been in developmental. Vanessa Bourne is ghastly. She is
very bad.
There's a lot of athletic upside there, and I've said that before, but my God, is like nothing being tapped into here. And
yeah, no, it's not good at all.
Yeah, and this is not even like a Bianca Belair where I kind of fault the coaching for not for basically teaching her a one-note character, and then once you book away from that, she really, really struggles. Bourne has shown no aptitude for honestly anything.
No, I mean, we've been over this a bajillion times, but she's the cheerleader who can't dance. She's the supposed to be this natural athlete that can't do anything athletic. Her timing is all wrong all the time. I don't get it. I don't know what the deal is. I don't understand.
There was this I don't know if it was supposed to be like a semi Bronco Buster or double knee spot that she did where it's like, all right, good, and then what the fuck happened? Because like she got good height, she looked good in the air, and then she comes down, and I'm just like, I don't know what that was supposed to be.
Yeah, and I mean, she was supposed to do I believe it was like a clothesline in the corner. Like she's supposed to follow somebody in and do a clothesline in the corner, I think. But it was fucking badly timed. It was poorly. She didn't accelerate correctly. Like none of it was good. I think she's definitely got personality, which sounds like I'm shitting on her. But this sounds like the worst thing you get. She's got a great personality. She's got personality. She's got something. There's definitely something there, but it's not wrestling.
I mean, in all seriousness, about a good 50% of wrestling is the personality.
Yeah.
Case in point, why Steve Blackman never really did a tremendous amount. Fantastic in-ring technician. Naturally gifted at any kind of combat sports, but the personality was always like it, which is kind of funny because if you've ever watched Steve Blackman Bounty Hunter, he's actually like the when they were talking about possibly making that into a show. His personality is there. It just never came across as a wrestler.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I never had an issue with Steve Blackman back in the day when he was wrestling with his personality. He did what they wanted him to do. He went out. He was the martial arts guy. He did the martial arts stuff, and he had a pretty good dry sense of humor if they ever had him in an interview. But they very rarely ever did, so he never got to really have a character or say that one thing that would turn his character into something else or would let him get to the next level of development somehow. But that's the truth of a lot of people. They just don't get... I don't know if Bayley's ever going to be anything other than what Bayley is now. So...
Which is sad.
Yeah. What I could be wrong. Hey, maybe they got titles... They got tag team titles now. Maybe we get a chance to see Sasha Banks do something other than stereotypical mall chick bling thing, and maybe we get to see more of Bayley, struggling to succeed or just having success and then, showing other people you can do what I did, you just have to work hard, that kind of thing.
Nah, they more enjoy burying her. See the Alexa
Oh, yeah.
feud.
Absolutely. I'm right there with you, but it's, I don't know, it's weird. And I don't think Vanessa Bourne is ever going to do anything other than I think she'd be a really good addition to a faction. In as much
valet
as
type deal.
Yeah, well, not only a valet, but you could have her fill in during like 6-person matches or, things like that. And you could use her in that regard and get her some training and just, I don't know, you just do not what they're doing now. Don't make her a singles person. She can't be that.
Well,
they
seem to be grouping her into a tag team. I mean, the problem is she's being grouped into a tag team with Aaliyah, who to a lesser degree, but very much has a lot of the same problems.
They're really trying to get rookies to teach each other how to be wrestlers, and that's not how that works.
The sad thing is Aaliyah's not even really all that much of a rookie.
Well, if she's not a rookie, then she really needs to do something. I don't know what it is that she needs to do, but do it.
Well, I mean, we say this, but the Iconics have made the main roster, so...
That's true.
There you go.
And they are terrible.
They are terrible at everything they do. I'm sorry. I'm sure they are perfectly nice ladies. I'm not, actually.
Oh, I mean, you don't get to marry Ty Dillinger and not be a good, on the inside, some sort of decent human being. That doesn't get to happen. But just don't be in a wrestling ring because your promos are bad, your wrestling is worse, and you've only got one skill and you don't use it.
Yeah. To make this a bit worse, they put the heels over, which I don't like because the storyline here was that these are the two ladies that, if you recall, Tainara Conti had a matchup with Aaliyah, Vanessa Bourne interfered, and that's how we kind of picked up this tag team feud. Problem is that you've now given Aaliyah the singles win over Conti, you've given them as a tag team a win over Zaya and Conti, and it was a pretty clean win. So where do you go from here? And I mean, the answer is like, well, we got to push Bourne and Aaliyah further up the card, and that's absolutely not what you need to do.
No, I mean, that was the best match. I think the real problem here is that was the best match that I'd seen Conti have, and I've never seen either two on the other team have a good match ever. And they booked it the wrongest way.
Yeah, I mean...
Which is,
this feud should have... This should have been the faces going over to continue the feud, basically. And giving all four of these pretty green girls who need, time to develop and so on, someone to bounce off of, someone to develop chemistry with and develop some good matches, because I think outside of Aaliyah, I think 3 out of the 4 of these girls can actually be something quite good. I don't have any hopes for Aaliyah. Sorry, Aaliyah fans, I guess.
No.
I don't think, she's not really getting it, and I don't think she's particularly athletic, so she doesn't
have... Well, I mean, how long has she been wrestling for?
A long time.
Okay. Like 7? Is she another Street Profit? She's been in developmental for 7 years and still doesn't have a whole character together?
WWE, okay, not as long as I'm thinking. She's been in the game for 6 years.
That's still Street Profit level of we've been in training for more than half a decade, approaching a whole decade of training.
She's been in developmental for 3 years. She spent 3 years on the independents in Canada.
Okay, that's not good, Adam. That's not good.
Yeah, that's kind of also the fact that she's also made some racially insensitive tweets apparently on Twitter.
Oh, nice. That's juicy.
So, apparently her claim on that is that it wasn't her, but, I feel like that's probably somewhat of a strike against you.
Yeah, that wasn't me either. Who was it that was dating the Nazi chick? Who was that?
That was Seth Rollins.
Nice.
That didn't hurt him.
Nope.
Wound up cheating on his wife, wife or fiance, can't remember which it was, and that kind of
wife.
Yeah. But, just, there's some good stuff in this match. Not enough to make you go watch it, but it does make me hopeful for two girls' futures. It shows a bit of what might be there with Bourne. I'm just not confident she'll find it. But the wrong team went over because you needed to continue this program, frankly. And now there's not that you won't, but there's no reason to at this point. We ended up with Velveteen Dream and the Undisputed Era doing a backstage thing. You know what? I'm just going to say go watch the last couple of weeks of podcasting, what I've had to say about the Era, and that can cover that really here.
Yeah, pretty much. I still think that it's deliberate. I still think that it's it has it was working fine for a while, and then Vince woke up and just barked orders. I want 4 guys now.
I mean, here's my thing is I'm grading this as if they want to succeed, not hide stuff from Vince. I'm willing to admit that that's quite a possibility, but it's not. It's a sad indictment of the business right now.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's an indictment of WWE as a whole. It's like if you have to hide from Vince to have long-term success in the WWE, Vince has got to go. That's just it. I don't give a shit if he retires or you force him out of the company or what. It does not matter. He just can't be in charge anymore. That's the end of it.
We had a whole fracas backstage between Bianca Belair and Io Shirai. I honestly, my biggest problem with this storyline was, I mean, number one, it developed into basically women being bitches backstage, which
I just skipped it.
I would hope that we're past that, but also the fact that we ended up with Bianca and Io getting matched up next week for a shot at Shayna TakeOver, which meant that the Mia Yim Shayna Baszler match that was happening was non-title.
Yeah.
Which I'd
say let's just get rid of all the titles and then everything can be non-title. How's that sound? That sound good? Easy booking.
I don't really understand why this was non-title, because you've given Mia Yim enough wins that she's a semi-credible challenger. Like, not at the level of, say, Io Shirai, but just a step below that. It's fair enough that she's getting a title shot, and you know she's going to do the job anyways, so just make it a title match.
Yeah, pretty much. Or, and this is crazy, this blow a couple minds, don't book shit. Don't book shit ahead of time like that. Don't book shit that I know that somebody else is going to have a title defense against somebody else in a far future time. That means that what's happening now is bullshit. Don't stop breaking your own kayfabe, you morons.
Dominic Dijakovic and Keith Lee faced off.
It was really good.
This was the match of the night. This was really, really good. These are two men who do a lot of stuff you would not think they could do.
And I was really, really, really upset for about 30 seconds because they come out, they got their promo on, or they got their walkout on, they got everything going, they're rocking and rolling, and they go right into a rest hold.
Yeah, I could have done without that.
Fuck? But it was a tease. But it still pissed me off because I'm sick and tired of random morons who only do rest holds. Baron Corbin.
Yeah. I felt there was something further coming on that. Yeah, I mean, still, this was a really good match. You had Dijakovic getting Keith Lee, who is a massive man, up for some power moves. The agility of Keith Lee is amazingly unexpected. They ended up getting a double count out to set up more of this.
Yeah, I like that. I love the finish. The finish was great.
Yeah, I mean, while also Dijak going over the top rope again. I mean, that's never going to get old. Just to say it now.
Come for that ass.
I did have kind of a weird idea. We got the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic coming up. I thought, wouldn't it be sweet if these two had, just off of this match, it's like, I respect you. Let's go get that money. Because nothing is going to stop us.
I would agree, and I would enjoy that a great deal.
But instead, they kind of brawled after the match a little bit, and we're getting into the match between these two at some point. It hasn't been announced, but I mean, duh.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason they weren't going to do the Dusty Rhodes is they, after this, revealed the full Dusty Rhodes bracket. And like I said, super deep tournament. Maybe the deepest of all time.
Deep.
Looking forward to it. And it starts next week.
I'm going to put it in deep.
Then we had the Regal announcement about Bianca and Io. Then we had Bayley and Banks show up to show off their belts. There's nothing wrong with this. Nothing to get really excited about.
I was a little disappointed. There's been this, so there's this new rumor going around. And that is that in conjunction with, apparently on NXT, the two pony women, because they're not full-fledged horses in any way, shape, or form, the two pony girls apparently have not been booked in any house shows or anything else, and they put tweets out that pretty much say directly that they're going to main roster ahead of Shayna Baszler. So
please God, no.
Yeah, no, it's the thing. I can't remember where I was going with this. Oh, right, because so here's the deal. I knew this going into this taping, and I really expected them to come out and at least say some shit, get in the ring and go nah 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 at the champs, and then the champs like throw a double super kick, Young Buck style, and then go, listen, rookies, come see us later when you've had some practice in the ring. Something like that. I expected something, and they did nothing. They just kind of came out, they said cool things, and then they left. It was all right. I didn't have a problem with it, but it could have been better and more.
Yeah, it just didn't seem like, I mean, what was the point of this, I guess? Mm-hmm. I mean, cheap pop, I suppose, but that's really about it. Then we finished up with Mia Yim versus Shayna Baszler. Non-title match as stated beforehand. The story of the match was basically Shayna Baszler fucking up her hand and Mia Yim fucking up her leg, which apparently was a leg that she broke at one point. So that is our theme.
You fucked up.
Couple of cool moments. Mia Yim hit a nice one-legged DDT through the ropes. That was pretty cool. Very almost Johnny Gargano-esque.
Mm-hmm.
But on the dark side, we had two of my pet peeves when it comes to pro wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
Pet peeve number one, dumbass face using her damaged leg to kick the heel. Dumb. Just dumb. And then the other thing was just they did some like ankle locks / knee bar holds with Baszler working the leg, and just not. And admittedly, this is only to people who know grappling and are not people with no interest in MMA, for example. But very clearly, just holding the leg. There's nothing there.
Yeah, I'm going to gently curl my elbow around your calf muscle. Now, if you could be so kind as to scream at the top of your goddamn lungs as if it hurts.
Yeah.
When I've literally seen pro wrestlers my entire life grab somebody's leg like that to set up a move. That doesn't mean that the move's on yet. What the fuck?
Yeah, and it's a bit of a problem because pro wrestling usually has the opposite problem of underselling legit holds. This was an oversell.
Yeah, it was just really weird. I didn't think that was in any way necessary. I just don't get it, how that is still a thing in today's day and age.
Well, I really didn't get the whole injured leg to begin with, because they had her injure her own leg. She's in a non-title match with the champion. You don't need to give her an out. She can lose clean. Like there's nothing that's going to hurt her by losing clean to Baszler in a somewhat competitive match. So just go do that.
Mm-hmm.
I just thought it was kind of unnecessary. In the end, Karafuda Clutch gets the tap out, and Baszler builds momentum towards TakeOver, where she will defend against either Io Shirai or Bianca Belair. I'm hoping for Io Shirai.
Yeah. The problem is that they've already done the whole Bianca Belair thing, which means I think they're going back to it.
I suspect that they will go back to it. Like my pick with my brain is Belair. My heart pick is Io. What I would like to see. I would like to see something. I'd like to see something new, and I think the standard of that match would just be higher. And that's that's no disrespect to Bianca Belair. You look at how long Io Shirai's been in the business. You look how long she's been in the business, and that's really all you need to know. I'm going to quickly look up here and get the actual numbers for the good people. Bianca Belair has been in the business for 3 years. Io Shirai has been in the business for 12 years.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, it's definitely a thing.
Yeah. Onwards to Impact Wrestling from February 28th. We opened up with Willie Mack versus Jake Christ, and this was just a setup for a tag team match because we got a pretty quick DQ when Dave interfered in the match, and Tommy Dreamer makes the save with the kendo stick and challenges OVE to a tag team match, which we then got. Dreamer and Mack go over. Nothing terrible, but nothing great. The combination of Dreamer and Mack could be interesting, so let's see what happens with that.
Yeah, I need that to be better, though. I mean, you got Willie Mack, who I'm used to being Willie Mack, and you've got Tommy Dreamer, who I'm used to being Tommy fucking Dreamer. And the Christs really, 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 really are showing that they are nowhere near that level in any way, shape, or form.
The Christs are a weird case where I think their character works against them. Because if you go back to the Irish Airborne, which is the Chris independent career, basically, they're a pretty good tag team. Not great, not Young Bucks or anything like that, but perfectly serviceable. And I think that, honestly, wearing the kind of weird gear and acting like meth heads doesn't really help them.
I vote we have them sent back to the trailer park.
I say just send it back to the independents and let them be the Irish Airborne again. There you go.
I mean, were they better wrestlers when they were the Irish Airborne, or is this whole gimmick just sucking them down into a morass of horribleness?
They were much better wrestlers before.
Well, then just give up the gimmick that's fucking up your program.
Yeah, probably. I mean, I know what they want out of the gimmick. And to be honest, the act itself is pretty over, but their match quality is not very good. And when you're guys who are kind of reliant on match quality, because they're relatively small guys, and it's always been said if you're big guys, you can get away with being a lesser worker. I mean, case in point, see any major star in the WWE. Pretty much. But, yeah, I don't know. They're not really doing it for me here, and I used to be a pretty big fan of theirs, so it's a bit disappointing.
Correct.
We had investigative reporter Londo Melendez, I believe that is the name. Maybe it's Mondo, I don't know.
Mondo Gecko.
Basically accusing Johnny Impact of giving title shots in exchange for favors, and how he would like a title shot, in fact.
I like that. I enjoyed the fact that he's just like, I'll just throw my head in that ring.
Anyways, not really much to add here. Impact's still just with his standard routine. And he's got a tag team matchup against Killer Kross and Moose later on the night with Brian Cage as his partner. We had KM and Fallah Bahh take on Reno Scum. I enjoyed the match. But it did seem a bit weird that Reno Scum, in a very hyped return debut, or re-debut as it were, really just kind of did the job. And
yeah, they did okay. I mean, they weren't just out there and ate the pin and then left. They had a decent match.
Yeah, it wasn't a job squad. It was a reasonably solid match, and they got the assault afterwards, which led to the greatest KM promo of his career.
Yeah.
Him and Bahh were extremely pissed off, and Bahh made either a motion to grab your heart and rip it out, or grab your balls and rip them off. And
it's one or the other.
It's pretty terrifying, to be honest. So this feud is not over, and it could be good. So I mean, I'm optimistic, but I just feel like Reno Scum in their re-debut probably should have gotten a win, even if you just kind of give them a jobber team and then move on to this. But we'll see. Their first appearance by Glenn Gilberti for the week, where he comes in. Ethan Page is there and directs him towards the creative office, which D'Lo Brown comes out of. He goes in, and they basically just kind of make fun of outrageous ideas that he probably has and has had in the past. And you're actually just the production assistant. You're supposed to get us coffee. This. What do you think the payoff for this is actually going to be?
I don't know. He keeps saying and the weird thing is that they're breaking their own kayfabe, and they're putting it out there that Callis really is the guy in charge. So, and then but Callis doesn't acknowledge any of that on commentary ever.
Yeah, but they acknowledged it in the podcast when Callis said he was hiring Gilberti. So it's very weird in that regard.
Yeah, it was kind of strange. I don't quite get it.
We had Eli Drake trying to get Eddie Edwards to tag with him. And basically Eddie has a tag team partner, and it's the kendo stick. And the look on Eli Drake's face where he realizes I've been rejected in favor of a stick is pretty hilarious, actually. We had a little vignette of Scarlet Bordeaux being Scarlet. She's debuting next week or announcing her her opponent next week. So the Emelina / why can I not remember the redhead who couldn't wrestle but was insanely hot? Eva Marie. There we go. Gimmick basically continues.
Yeah, I thought you were going to go with... God, now I can't remember the lady's name I'm talking about. The LOD manager.
Oh, Christy Hemme.
Christy Hemme, yeah, there you go. You said redhead, and I was just going to immediately go in there.
Well, yeah, Fire Crotch would definitely come to mind with that. We had Tessa Blanchard versus Delilah Doom. This was pretty good, to be honest. Doom kind of rolls into the ring, starts getting beaten up, but she manages to turn the tables, gets a lot of good offense in. Surprisingly good ability to jump. Surprisingly agile. Did a really nice basement Rana. Went for a second one, got power bombed, and that turned the match around, and Blanchard gets the win because, duh. But this was a really actually pretty solid match to kind of build Delilah Doom, actually. And their women's division needs building because there's like no one in it. Yeah, I was a little mystified yet intrigued last week when they debuted her out of nowhere and then gave her a big ass, like just a big promo spot at the end. I didn't understand why, but it makes more sense. Work to be done, but there's definitely some good building blocks with this particular wrestler, so that's good. Tessa Blanchard finished up by saying she wants a title shot or else, leaving Josh Matthews and Don Callis to try to sell us on the or else portion of the threat.
Welcome to the or else part of our show.
We then had Melissa, Mrs. Cage, interviewing Mr. Cage. And she wants to know if he can coexist with Johnny Impact tonight. He says he can. He says he's not going to get a fair shot at the title one-on-one as long as Moose and Kross are around. And he has it in writing that Johnny must give him a title shot. So he's feeling pretty confident.
Makes sense to me. I like the fact that he definitely has a slightly different demeanor. It's not much, but you can tell he's not used to working professionally with his wife. So when he gets on there, he's like, "Thanks, Melissa. I'm running to Johnny."
I like that. It's just more of a bipolar aspect to his character. Rosemary is being insane backstage when Kiera Hogan and Jordan Grace come to offer their services in the Dark War. She says that it's not their place, basically, but they convince her. So, Kiera Hogan convinces her that, Allie is my friend. She came to the Dark World for me. You came to the Dark World to fight for me as well. so let me fight for you. And Rosemary basically says, very well, but once the bunny is back at my side, you need to back up. Which I'm kind of amused that Allie is a bunny.
Yeah, I was sure that I just missed some sort of long-standing nickname that I was not aware of, so I just didn't even question it.
It is a long-standing nickname, but
fair enough.
But just fun. It's a fitting one. Then we had Ethan Page versus Wentz of the Rascals. This goes back 2 weeks when they were talking about the wanting to kind of replicate each other's successes. Between Trey Miguel and Wentz, and this is the portion of Wentz getting that. He gets an assist from the NFL alums, who had been referenced pretty consistently throughout the night, the Las Vegas NFL Alum Society. Ethan Page wound up jaw-jacking with them, and I believe Marlon Greenwood decked him, and Wentz gets the victory. Pretty convincing. Wentz is a solid wrestler who I was honestly pretty unaware of before we started watching Impact again.
Yeah, I just think it's weird that I'm assuming that using the last name Wentz, and maybe it's his real last name, so I'm not really aware. But I'm assuming that the Wentz name is a reference to Pete Wentz, who is the bass player / singer for and songwriter for Fall Out Boy.
Could be.
Maybe I'm way off base on that one, but it's kind of the impression that I get.
We could check that out at some point. Back to Glenn Gilberti's adventures backstage.
Bird.
He meets Tommy Dreamer. He's like, I'm the new ass to kiss. I don't really know what I'm supposed to be doing. And Tommy Dreamer's like, well, I've done a little bit of talent relations in my day. And there's one particular talent that's really hard to deal with. And he's behind that door. So, I mean, if you want to prove yourself in this regard, it'd be a good time to really go through that door and deal with the talent. And Glenn's all happy, and he goes through the door, and then comes out and goes, "It's an owl!" It's the legendary Anthem Owl. He's long-standing, institution of the place. Really bad attitude though. And then in the end, Tommy Dreamer just pushes him in there with the owl. Which presumably attacks the fuck out of him.
I would agree.
We had an Ace Austin package.
Who we really don't know who that is.
I don't really know him. He's been on MWL, so he's got to be some kind of talent. MWL tends to put on good matches, but I don't watch them regularly enough to really know who this person is.
I don't even know what is it, like Major League Wrestling or something?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
Then we had Sami Callihan with a message for Richie Swann, which is that he loves Richie Swann. It's so touching and so nice, and that he will probably hospitalize him again if he keeps refusing OVE's offers to join. This is what we call domestic violence.
Yeah.
And then we had Moose and Kross getting interviewed by Melissa. This was surprisingly good, but nothing I'm going to say right here actually is going to make it seem good. This is one of those things you have to actually go watch to appreciate that it's good. So here's how it goes. Killer Kross starts off by asking Moose if he can see the play. This is the play that they tried on Cage and Impact to separate them, make them mad at each other, and create openings for them. So Moose and Kross should not let that happen. And Moose is like, yeah, I see the play. Johnny is the hot chick at the bar that winks at every guy who comes in, but when you approach them, they just walk away. I feel like Moose has had some really bad experiences with women.
Yes, I'm getting this impression of his whole life is just one big shit show of holy shit, what the fuck, lady.
I feel like that might be the case, because it doesn't really go with the character he portrays, but okay. Talks about how Johnny is just like that hot chick, but he's not hot, and he's not a chick. So, maybe a catfish happened at some point they were gonna lose. Anyways, he's hyped up for the match, and we finish off with Killer Kross going, "That's my boy!" And then they go off for the match, and like I said, nothing about what I explained there makes it sound awesome, but it actually was awesome.
Yeah, there's a lot of nonverbal communication.
Yeah, a lot of it. We had a Conan LAX promo. Conan's getting them another shot at the title, but he wants them to fucking chill. The one part of this promo that I didn't really get, I can't remember if it was Ortiz or Santana, but one of them was trying to justify what they did to the Lucha Brothers, basically. The attacking them after the bell, taking the masks off and everything. And the argument was, we just did what we would always do. If someone disrespects us and steps to us like that, we got to take him out. I'm like, they wanted to shake your hands after beating you for the second time in 3 matches. Matches that you granted them. I don't see the disrespect.
Well, I mean, dude, in Mexican culture, it's super disrespectful to be nice to people.
It's super disrespectful.
That's got to be how they're booking this. I don't know any other way around it.
I don't get this. Like, even by the laws of the street, I don't think there was any disrespect in this. Like, the Lucha Bros have been the most respectful I've ever seen Pentagon, frankly, in a feud. So, I don't know.
Yeah, usually just comes out, kicks the shit out of you, goes zero miedo, and then steps on your neck.
Like, I'm not against the idea of this feud, but the execution has been rough around the edges at best, frankly. Anyways, Conan storms off, and Ortiz and Santana are like, no, we gonna handle this. So, presumably they're going to turn on Conan.
I would have to agree.
Getting off of this. Maybe because Conan's contract might be coming to an end. And I'm not saying that based on any rumor. I'm just going with a theory on the matter.
Could be. I mean, doesn't he run his own promotion?
He does. Then we had the main event, the tag match that we've been building towards all night. Moose and Kross versus Impact and Cage. Impact and Cage doing a great job. A lot of tandem offense, looking on the same page. They're doing the job well, and then Impact goes for his, flippy shit off the top rope, crashes and burns, kind of behaving as if he has a stinger. At first you're like, is he actually hurt? But then it's clear that this is the storyline. He ends up rolling over the corner with Cage and has the gentlest tag I've ever seen. That was, I thought that was actually a really nice touch. Cage doing a great job 2-on-1 for a while, but he gets thrown to the outside. He eats a face full of post and then a face full of title belt. He's busted open and starts looking to tag Impact in. Impact's outside. Officials are surrounding him. Taya comes down. She argues a little bit with Cage. And the distraction gives Killer Kross and Moose the opening to hit a backdrop driver, spear, rear naked choke, choking Cage out for the victory.
Yeah, the one thing I didn't really like was the commentary seemed to be really, really focused on, oh my god, he's bleeding, oh god, Lord, have mercy on the blood. Like, there's barely any blood, guys.
Yeah, and Impact's a relatively common user of blood. I mean, we're talking about a promotion that saw Eddie Edwards' eye socket get shattered, and I think, to be honest, it might have gotten less of a reaction than this, and that wasn't planned.
Mm-hmm.
So that's just not good commentary 101 right there.
Yeah.
Just, really should probably save the... It wasn't the Owen Hart voice, but the Owen Hart-esque voice for something proper. Like, for example, Johnny... You've even got Johnny Impact right there, looking like he's fucked his neck up, acting like he's seriously hurt, and we're taking a lot of time to talk about Cage bleeding. Just seems like a weird turn of events, really, in that regard. So this feud is going to keep Kross and Moose in it, obviously. I'm not against that. I'm not a huge fan of Moose, but Killer Kross's promos have definitely added something to this. And to be honest, Moose on the mic in his awkward confusing way has also added to this. And but it is keeping me away from having Impact versus Cage as just a proper one-on-one match, which was really fucking good when they did it.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I don't know why they wouldn't want to fully pot commit to that, so... No.
Yeah, I'm a little puzzled by that. Now, this could have something to do with the fact that Killer Kross re-signed with Impact. Probably some promises were made to keep him towards the top of the card, maybe a title run at some point. But honestly, if I were booking it and I didn't have the constraints of, what wrestlers want, I would have split this feud up. I would have done a Moose versus Kross feud, featuring back to the whole backstabbing that Kross did, and have some fun with that, and have Cage versus Impact for the title, and then after you've had Kross potentially dismantle Moose, he's got a little bit of heat back on him, he can go back after the title against either Cage or Impact, whoever you feel more comfortable as a face, basically, and revisit it there, and that way everyone's happy. But that's not the direction they're going here. But I do trust Don Callis and Scott D'Amore to do good things. And we learned actually in this episode that Don Callis is a former Border City Wrestling Tag Team Champion.
Yeah. That's a way to book yourself to the top, champ.
Indeed. So that is all for Impact. Do we have anything else we want to talk about?
Not really. AEW really hasn't made any new exciting news or claims or anything, so...
And nothing really there.
They did do a pretty funny episode today. They deliberately called the BTE episode the filler episode. And it's like, yeah, I just didn't have really a lot to say. I'm getting kind of tired of MJF doing MJF things, I guess. Because it's only one thing. He's kind of like the male Vanessa Bourne. Or Bianca Belair of it, just kind of like, yeah, I'm an asshole. I'll be an asshole again next week. Don't worry about it.
I'll somehow convince specific people that I'm not an asshole.
Yeah.
Mostly Cody Rhodes.
Yeah. I don't get it. It does. Well, the other part of it that doesn't really make a ton of sense is that it's like, oh yeah, no, we all know he's an asshole. It's very clear, and we kind of like him because he's an asshole. So why is it still being hidden from Cody?
Maybe Cody won't like it, though that wouldn't really make any sense with Cody's character being, frankly, a bit of a psychopath.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, I don't know. It just that part of it doesn't make it for me. And since that's the only thing I have to go on with AEW is the being the elite webisodes, that's what I've got to criticize.
We had a UFC card of some import this past weekend. Double title match card where Kamaru Usman with a broken foot apparently dominated Tyron Woodley. And John Jones dominated Anthony Smith, who didn't look like he knew what to do. That's yeah,
it was weird. It was really weird because they said, like, his coaches kept saying shit like, you've seen it. You've seen everything. You've seen it all. You've seen everything we knew would happen. You've seen it now. Which leads me to believe that they prepared very well. And
I mean, I trust his head cornerman is Mark Montoya, who's a very good coach. Trust him a lot. So, yeah, it's not like John Jones unveiled any real new arsenal. Just, I don't know. Getting in there with John Jones caused Anthony Smith to kind of go full deer in the headlights, which, to be honest, also could explain Tyron Woodley in a lot of ways, too.
Yeah, I think I mean, the term hasn't been used in forever, but dude seems to have got octagon shock.
Yeah. Which, I mean, it kind of makes sense. Like, Anthony Smith it was a very unlikely title contender even a couple of months ago. And I think this title shot just, I don't want to say came out of nowhere, because he beat Volkan Oezdemir, which is a top 5 guy, which is a sad indictment of the division, but top 5 guy. And yeah, it just didn't look like he was ready for it. Not that I think he could have won in any way, but just nothing he did in this fight would allow him to win any fight. I hate to pull a Rampage Jackson quote out, but he didn't fight. That's just kind of
you gotta show up at some point.
Yeah. Other than that,
full credit to him for not getting killed.
Mm-hmm. We had a Death Valley driver in a UFC fight. I think that's the first time that's ever happened.
Yeah.
As Robbie Lawler nearly killed Ben Askren and then got, air quotes, choked out. Not angry about that stoppage because, frankly, while it has been said that he gave Herb Dean a thumbs up, the fact that we could not see it on the broadcast means that I have every thought that Herb Dean didn't see it. So,
yeah, well, that and apparently Herb Dean asked him several times, "Are you okay?" And even grabbed his hand, and dumb fuck just laid there. Like, you had every opportunity in the world, dude. I don't give a shit if you raised a thumb. That could just be your hand clenching as you're unconscious.
Well, like some kind of active thumbs up has historically been accepted as an "I'm okay." So, I mean, that would have been.
Yeah, but I mean, he grabbed his arm. He grabbed his arm.
Yeah, well,
and got no reaction.
That's my thing. Is we're watching a live broadcast and we didn't see the thumbs up. So, whether you gave it or not, you didn't make it very apparent. You acted as if you were out. Yes, a bulldog choke generally doesn't put you out. And yes, it's a bad idea to talk while a guy is choking your jaw, not to mention quite possibly physically impossible. But, yeah, there should have been a lot more there. Can't be mad at it. Diego Sanchez got a win. That's cool. Old dog. Apparently got bit during the fight by Mickey Gall. There you go.
I don't really believe that, but okay.
No, he showed the bite marks, actually.
Oh, interesting.
So, I mean, we're of two thoughts here. Either Mickey Gall bit him, or he found someone to bite him so that he could say Mickey Gall bit him. This is Diego Sanchez, so neither of these are more likely than the other, but because he's crazy. And anyways, that translates into pro wrestling because, of course, Mickey Gall is the CM Punk Slayer.
Correct.
And,
I don't know where
the next UFC
CM Punk return confirmed.
The next UFC pay-per-view will be double interim title fights. So dumb.
What the fuck?
So dumb.
Okay, why don't you guys just do like pro wrestling and delete all your titles, and therefore you don't have to book any title matches. Make it easy on yourselves, you fucking bag of retards.
Well, I'm not against interim titles wholesale. I mean,
I am.
No, I mean, like, for example, when Andrei Arlovsky won the interim heavyweight title over Tim Sylvia when Frank Mir had broken his leg in the motorcycle accident. Totally justified interim title.
Yeah, fair
fine with that. But, yeah, now it's like, well, Habib's been suspended. We know exactly when he's coming back. Interim title. Why? Or, now the Robert Whittaker one makes a little bit more sense because Whittaker is slated to be out for quite a while. He has a ruptured... he has some intestinal issues, basically.
He's got a ruptured everything?
It's been bad luck for him.
He's got a ruptured body.
Yeah. So, okay, fair enough there, but why are we having and the weird thing here is the interim titles mean absolutely nothing. Why do I say this? Well, as much as you and I hate him, Colby Covington was the interim champion and got passed over for this title shot. Now,
yeah, but wasn't his original interim title total bullshit? Like, we don't have anything else going on this week. Let's give him an interim title.
Oh, absolutely. Tyron Woodley had recently defended that title. There really was no reason for that belt to be interim.
Mm-hmm.
It was basically so that they could send her to the White House with the belt to pose with Donald Trump. That
Jesus Christ
was the reasoning. They can claim anything they want, but that was the reasoning. But, the problem is here, if you're going to do interim titles and then the interim champion doesn't even get a title shot, what is the point of the interim title? And they're doing it again because, of course, if you recall, Tony Ferguson was the interim lightweight champion. Didn't get a title shot. Now, admittedly, he was booked for one, got injured. Fair enough. But, got stripped of the interim title. And apparently, basically, Dana White went to Tony Ferguson and said, yeah, we want you to fight Max Holloway for the interim title. And his response, or this was one of his ideas, apparently. And he asked, what's the pay situation on that? They're like, oh, your standard pay. So you want me to go in there, win another interim belt with no guaranteed title shot for the actual belt and no pay raise. I'll pass.
Fair enough.
And instead we got Dustin Poirier versus Max Holloway, which is a pretty good fight. I like the fight, but it's pointless as an interim belt because here's the other problem with this. You have an interim belt at 155 with the 145-pound champion, so the 145 belt will not be defended, particularly if he wins this interim belt. So you'll just have to strip him of one of those titles. You're trying to get rid of the flyweight division, which is another belt. So if you just need belts, how's this sound? Keep your divisions flowing. God damn it.
Pretty much. You can't tell me there aren't guys out there that weigh that much and that can fight. You can find these people. They exist.
Yeah. Anyways, that's all I have for the UFC for this round. We went into a bit of a weird thing there. Greg Hardy is booked to fight again against, ironically, a more difficult opponent than the one he fought the first time. I'm not sure what they're trying to do with him, actually.
Set him on fire.
He's fighting a Russian fighter by the name of Dmitry Smolyakov, who has really bad cardio. I want to highlight that problem. He gassed out in both of his UFC fights and lost both of them.
Yikes.
But for the first, chunk of the match, he's pretty fucking dangerous. And we're talking about Greg Hardy, who may or may not have looked for a way out against Alan Crowder, a completely non-dangerous heavyweight.
Please tell me that his fans are called Crowder heads.
Oh, dude, you should totally tweet that at him.
Twitter's a dead medium.
No, but it's not as popular as it used to be. So that's all we got. I hope you enjoyed the podcast. And, yeah. I don't think I really have anything else to add on that.
Not really. Hail Satan.
Hail Satan.